What if these silent stones could speak? Beneath the ruins of Angkor, the true marvel isn't the statues, it is the thousands of written inscriptions that carry the voices of kings, priests, and commoners from 1,000 years ago. Today, we become archaeological detectives, deciphering these messages etched in stone to unveil the true story of an empire that defied time. What if the silent stones of Angkor could whisper their secrets? Picture yourself wandering among the twisting roots and crumbling towers below the weight of 1,000 years as a soft, ancient voice rustles through the moss and lintels. Here wonder is not found only in the faces of serene stone giants or the sprawling shadows of temples, but in thousands of quiet carvings, delicate letters chiseled by patient hands, preserving the voices of kings, priests, and farmers from across the centuries. Etched along gallery walls, winding around columns, and hiding under worn stairways, these inscriptions are messages sent across time from the height of the Khmer Empire. As investigators in this vast, overgrown city, we brush away centuries of dust, searching for meaning. The words left behind are not just grand pronouncements of conquest or piety. In the brief, strength-in lines, emperors announce their victories. Priests record rituals aligning heaven and earth. And farmers, their simple gifts a basket of rice, a carved ox inscribe their gratitude, their hopes, their work. Each temple stone is a page in a living chronicle. At Angkor Wat, the script recounts the god-king's devotion, describing festivals that turn night to day and processions glittering in torchlight. Some inscriptions are prayers, others legal decrees, land grants to the temple, instructions for offerings, poetry praising the serenity of Buddha or the might of Shiva. One can almost hear the preparations at dawn, the clang of bronze, chants drifting through galleries. A temple scribe, bent to his work, promising that nothing will be forgotten, but the records are not only of glory. In cryptic, hurried lines, we glimpse hardship, orders for repairs after a great flood, pleas for aid in years of drought, taxes levied to defend distant borders. Over time, the words stutter and fade, stone scars hint at wars, invasions, the toll of nature. Yet even as the empire's power waned and the jungle encroached, the stones stood stalwart, safeguarding memory. Today, scholars struggle to decipher these fading messages, their meanings shifting with each discovery. Angkor's silent stones hint at mysteries yet to be unraveled, lost sciences, vanished languages, forgotten names. They whisper of an empire that faced time's tide and, through these secret inscriptions, still waits to tell its story. Join us as we listen to the stone's faint, persistent whisper and uncover the epic saga of a civilization that dared to endure. For more than 6 centuries, the Khmer Empire recorded everything in stone. Across the temples of Angkor and the hidden sanctuaries of the Cambodian jungle, you find thousands of inscriptions, each one a snapshot in time, preserved against the humid winds and monsoon rains. But these aren't written in just one language. Each inscription is a complex fusion. Sacred Sanskrit, the tongue of the gods, woven together with Old Khmer, the living language of the people and the court. Names of kings and queens, prayers for the harvest, land grants, even legal pronouncements layered in alternating lines, one sacred, the other administrative. To the Khmer, this wasn't merely record-keeping, it was a way of making history eternal. The stone recorded the will of heaven and the march of kings, side by side. Centuries later, what remains isn't always clear. The carvings are worn, the temples reclaimed by jungle. Vines split open walls, leaving the words lost, scattered in sunlight and shadow. Yet, the stones still speak if you know how to listen. This was their big data, thousands upon thousands of entries, sprawling across generations. But to modern eyes, reading these is a challenge, even for scholars. First, there's the language itself, a hybrid, shifting constantly between the courtly Khmer and the poetic, formulaic Sanskrit. Then, there's the damage, lichen, cracks, and fading, making a single word a mystery lasting centuries. Enter the detectives of the past. Archaeologists, epigraphers, linguists all combing over the ruined stones. They compare the same king's name from temple to temple, tracing changes in spelling, titles, and honorifics, trying to map the politics of a vanished world. But even discovering what was carved isn't enough. What did these texts mean to the people who made them? Why choose to record a drought or a victorious campaign? Why set prayers for a goddess in Sanskrit, but record the donation of rice paddies in Khmer? Each inscription gives clues. Take the decrees, hundreds of them, detailing taxes collected, land assigned, even punishments for theft. They reveal a society deeply concerned with order and merit, tightly linked to religion and royal favor. The Sanskrit tells the myth, the Khmer ties it to reality. Piece by piece, scholars reconstruct the world the Khmer imagined. It's a world both familiar and deeply strange, bureaucratic, sacred, and obsessed with the cycles of the cosmos. The detective work continues. Each new inscription found is a chance to unlock not just a story, but a whole way of thinking, lost to time but still alive in stone. The first voices that reach our ears are always the loudest, the voices of kings. Here, the stones do not speak with humility, they shout of grandeur. Everywhere you look in the ruins of ancient empires, the stones are inscribed with stories of monarchs whose ambitions soared above the sky. The carvings are bold, the hieroglyphs deep and deliberate, each stroke a declaration that greatness once lived here. The inscriptions do not whisper. They proclaim that kings set themselves above mere mortals, ruling as deities on earth. Their mighty armies crushed all opposition. Their temples, built as hearts of the universe, reached to the sun itself. These etched records were the political propaganda of their age, intended not just to record events, but to ensure the world remembered the divine right of those who held power. Take, for example, the engraved tribute to King Suryavarman II. One line reverberates with poetic certainty. He is described as the sun that scatters the darkness of his enemies. In a single phrase, conquest is painted as cosmic necessity, royal authority shored up by metaphor and myth. The message is clear. This is a ruler whose power is as absolute as the rising dawn. But as you step aside from the shadow of kings, the stones reveal another story, quieter perhaps, but no less powerful. Behind the spectacle of royalty, the real engine of empire comes into view, the religious bureaucracy. It is here, beneath the grandeur, that the true machinery of civilization thrummed along, steady and relentless. Thousands of inscriptions remain, not to boast of battle or royal glory, but as precise accounting ledgers. Page after page in stone, they list donations to temples, land, measured in plot after plot. Gold, weighed and counted, rice by the basketful, and even elephants by the head. These records are exhaustive, documenting with meticulous care the wealth that poured into the temples. What these texts reveal is that the temples were not mere sanctuaries, they were economic giants, institutions wielding authority as real and as solid as any king. They managed immense fortunes, controlled the distribution of essential resources, and became centers where faith and power intertwined. So when we listen to the stones, it is tempting to be swept up by the grandeur of the kings. But look closer, and you will see the hum of an empire's true life run, not just by divine decree, but by the ceaseless labor of devotees, scribes, and temple officials. The propaganda may echo loudest, but beneath it, the quieter voices of the sacred bureaucracy tell us how societies were truly made and maintained, one carefully recorded offering at a time. But where are the people? Where are the hands that built these wonders, the backs that bore the stone across mountain peaks and through deep jungles to craft a civilization that astounded the world? As we stand before the eternal temples of Angkor, raising our gaze to the towering columns and intricate stone carvings, the questions of history echo deep within us. Do traces remain of the ordinary lives lived here, or have their voices been lost amidst the clamor of myths and the fragments of royalty? Between the lines of royal decrees carved upon the great temple walls, the stones whisper other names, names unknown to books of glory and unrecorded by heroic inscriptions. These are lengthy lists devised by scribes to tally the slaves and servants gifted to the temples, those who served the priests and tended to the gods and sacred properties. We read the names of dancers who brightened celebratory nights and musicians who breathed life into Angkor's stone palaces with flutes and drums. There are also the cooks who provisioned the priests and rulers, and the farmers who milled the rice and watered the fields with the sweat of their brows, laboring ceaselessly to keep the wheel of life turning. These names are not merely fleeting shadows in a forgotten chapter of history. Rather, these inscriptions restore dignity to the forgotten majority, reminding us that the grandeur of Angkor was not founded solely on the plans of kings or the revelations of priests. It was built upon the shoulders of thousands of toiling men and women. These are the unsung heroes, uncelebrated in epic poems or grand tales. Yet, had they not borne the heavy stone and nurtured the land, not a single temple would have risen, nor would a single tower have withstood the centuries. The empire vanished long ago, the jungle swallowed its wooden cities, and the wine silenced the sounds of its markets and festivals. Yet, the words carved into stone remain, narrating their stories to us through the mist of centuries. These voices' names, professions, and numbers are the true heartbeat of Angkor, the secret of its power and its vibrant human momentum. Today, when you visit Angkor, do not look solely at the splendor of the architectural art or the immensity of the structures. Listen with your soul to the distant voices. Realize that you are walking in the footsteps of a vibrant society, people who defied time and succeeded in immortalizing themselves in stone and its tales. This journey does not end here. Subscribe now and ring the bell, because the end of this path holds a revelation about a strange relic in Angkor that will absolutely shock you. Don't miss the next discovery.